how's it going, chimps? My name is Monkai, and today I'm going to be going in depth on one of the most important keys to success in Contractor's Exfil Zone, and that is your loadout. Kind of like that one right there, or those ones. Not that one, that one. The loadout that you bring into raid has a massive impact on giving yourself not only the best likelihood of success, because nothing is guaranteed in this game. You could bring the best gear in the game and have terrible luck, or you could bring the worst gear in the game and have amazing luck. But also, the best opportunity to have a great success.
Great success.
Today's video is going to be broken down into two separate parts. The first part, I'll go into all the nitty-gritty details about the loadout puzzle, starting on a chart from most crucial all the way to least crucial. I'll rank them and give you numbers. The second part of today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys some actual kit recommendations. Now remember, most importantly, these are just recommendations. I will show you some other options, different things you can fill in place for what I set up. But remember, no one weapon is definitively better than another if it feels good or works for you. Whatever weapon works for you is what weapon is best in this game for you. Now, that is why I'm doing this video, because after having quite a lot of time spent playing this game and a lot of experience, I feel that I have a great idea on what is important and what is not important when you're putting together your loadout. So hopefully by the end of today's video, you will have a much better understanding of how to properly prepare yourself for every time that you load into a new raid. So today will be a very long yap session about the nitty-gritty details, but as you guys know, in a game like Contractor's Exfil Zone, details are extremely vital and extremely important. Details are everything in a game like Contractor's Exfil Zone. They are the difference between life and death, success and sad armor. So why don't you guys just kick back, relax, and grab a snack. Even I got a snack here. I got me some what they call s'morios. Where have these been my whole life? I absolutely love these things. What, like Oreo s'mores? Who would have thought? Oh my gosh, they're so good. Oh, all right, let's get started on the first part. Okay, now let me finish this s'morio here. Oh man, so good. Anyway, most important part of what gives you the best opportunity for success in Contractor's Exfil Zone is what you bring. Now, I'm going to be showing you guys all these items, and you can purchase most of them, if not every single one of them, pretty sure. But obviously, use what you find, use what you have. Do not have gear fear. You can get over it over time, promise. It sucks. It's so annoying, gear fear. I still have a little bit of gear fear, but you can get over it. Use your stuff, save your money. This list, oh, there we go. This list is going to help you decide what you want to spend your hard-earned cash or all your loot that you've got out of raids on, and what is most important to spend that cash, and what loot you actually want to put into your precious backpack space. Because when you are looting, this game is all about getting gear. You want to make sure that what you're grabbing is actually worth it. I'm going to show you guys on this beautiful graph. As you guys can see here, I have set up a visual learner. I think these are very helpful, numbered 1 through 10, 10 being most crucial, 1 being least crucial. Now let's just jump straight into it without further ado. The number 1 most important piece to your loadout puzzle, without a shadow of a doubt, 10 out of 10, ammunition. Now, ammunition is your most important piece to your loadout puzzle, because the weapon that you bring into raid and the ammunition that you load that weapon with go hand in hand. But I believe the ammunition is far more important than the weapon that you load that ammunition into, because a good ammo with a bad weapon and bad armor are far better than bad ammunition loaded into good weapons with good armor. I say that because let's take, for example, I think we can all agree that objectively the AR-15 pistol is just a bad weapon. You do have an optic attachment. That is like the one thing going for it, and I think you can put muzzles on it and you can get the big mags. So there are some good things about this weapon, but I think we can all agree that the AR-15 pistol is far worse than the M4A1 mod. But I'm being completely honest when I say that I would rather have the AR-15 pistol loaded with M995s or AP than if I had to use the M4A1 mod loaded with MK255s. Because yes, you could just be like, oh, why don't you do leg meta? MK255s have good base damage, blah, blah, blah. If you do leg meta, like legitimately, and that's your strategy, like straight up, good for you. Not my thing. I do not like leg meta. I will pay for better ammo so that I can just pop people in the face. Way more consistent, much better strategy. Leg meta is only a last-ditch resort, only the last-ditch attempt, only the last resort in my opinion. You should not use leg meta as your main strategy. So I need to shut that down really quickly because I'll bet some of you be like, oh, I'd rather use M4A1 mod with MK255s and do leg meta. I would rather pop them once or twice in the face than 15 times in the legs and probably miss half of them. Anyway, that's beside the point. This is kind of a great example to show you guys why this is going to outperform the MK255 rounds, like without a shadow of a doubt. So again, like I said, it is very important to load a good weapon with good ammo or even a bad weapon with good ammo. Your ammunition is more important than the weapon you're loading it with because yes, this weapon has a lot more luxuries than the AR-15 pistol. If they're both firing the same exact caliber, whichever one is firing the higher tier of that caliber is going to perform better. Obviously, there's things like RPM, like this weapon, and if you go down the line on the good ammo and up the line on the bad ammo and you start to meet in the middle somewhere, obviously there's going to be a difference. But it is very important to understand good ammo and bad weapon better than bad ammo and good weapon. But that still goes without saying that if you are loaded up with bad ammo or you can't even afford good ammo, like let's say that you're sitting at a level, so something like MK255s with base damage of 73 is a phenomenal round for like doing that leg meta, doing that, hitting them where their armor isn't. But if say the highest round you can buy is MK318s and you're comparing the two, understand the strengths and weaknesses of your round. So MK318s are good at medium armor, maybe medium to high, and the base damage is good enough where you're going to be able to make up for a little bit of that. So something like 556 AP, look, the 39 base damage, you drop base damage a lot, but your penetration power is huge. You would not want to even consider leg meta with this round because, I mean, if you're going to do any sort of leg meta, 9mm PSO is really, really good. And then MK255s with base damage of 73 is, in my opinion, the best because you can load that with, you can load that into the RC4 and have an 850 RPM doing 73 damage. Again, not a strategy I highly recommend. It's one that if you don't have the ability to purchase high armor penetration ammo like M995s or AP 9mm and then the lower tiers or lower rounds, it's definitely not a bad idea. But again, you guys got to understand that leg meta is very flawed in a lot of ways, that people's legs are moving. It's hard to focus on that single leg unless you're spraying, and if you're spraying, you can get pretty lucky. But you also have to understand how fast they're killing you, what they're loaded up with, and what they're doing to you. But also, the biggest thing about leg meta, biggest reason why I don't like it, because let's say I'm fighting somebody. First of all, if they're behind cover, you're not going to be able to see their legs. What are you going to do? Where are you going to shoot them? If they got face protection on, then what are you going to do? You're not going to do anything is the answer. Other thing, let's say they want to lean. Oh, look at that. Their legs are gone. Let's say they got good face protection and your ammunition is MK255s. It takes you more than 30 rounds to hit through their helmet and you can't see their legs because their legs are all the way down there off to the side. So when talking about armor or ammunition, I have to bring up leg meta because that is a huge part of a lot of people's strategy in this game. So I need to bring up why it is flawed, but also understand that it is good. It can be huge because look at that, 73 base damage. Even something like the M4A1 mod has an 800 RPM. That is a lot, and I mean a lot of flash damage. 73 damage per round going at 800 RPM. Is great, but 850 on the RC4, definitely not a terrible strategy. I just think it's inconsistent and not reliable. Anyways, that is why ammunition is by far the most important piece to your loadout puzzle. And when I go on to the next one, it'll make it even more sense, which we will do right now. So number two, the second most important piece to your loadout puzzle, sitting at 9 out of 10, is your armor. I have armor sitting so high, as you can tell. Ammunition 10 out of 10. Armor just a little bit below that at 9 out of 10. Armor is extremely important because just as it is important to be able to put your enemies down as fast as you can, assuming whatever armor they have, it is also important to be able to withstand enough to keep yourself alive to be able to do so, or just to keep yourself safe in case something happens, someone gets to jump on you or anything could happen. A scav just one taps you in the face because you are wearing this dinky little level 1 armor, or even this one. I mean, they're crazy. Anyways, the reason that I have armor sitting just a step below ammunition, because like I said, let's say you have a bad weapon loaded up with some good ammunition and you're wearing a bad armor set. I did a random loadout video just like last Friday where I had pretty much that exact same thing. It wasn't really a bad weapon, honestly. In that video, I had the M4A1 CQBR, which is honestly a phenomenal weapon. It's a very low level weapon and very like easy to obtain. But anyways, I had the M4A1 CQBR loaded up with M995s, and I had this exact kit actually. And me and my buddy ran on Metro. We didn't run into anybody crazy, but using something like this, and it didn't even have any attachments, but using something like this felt a lot better than when I had something like the best armor in the game loaded up with MK255s, because then at that point I feel anybody I run into is going to be able to take me out so much faster. I'll be able to take them out, because if I can't see their legs, then I am not getting through helmet or chest. I have damage numbers on all the ammo types and all those things. But when you're loaded up with low level armor, if you just play like you know you're one shot, one kill, no matter where you get hit, no, obviously don't play totally scared and sit in the back corner of the map and don't do anything. But if you play very, very cautious, it's way easier to get away with better ammunition with bad armor than it is to get away with good armor and bad ammunition. So that is why I have armor sitting at number 2 most important piece to your loadout puzzle at 9 out of 10. Now, number 3 on the list is also very close behind armor, and this one should be obvious, and that is your weapon. I have that sitting at 8.5 out of 10 on the importance scale. Weapons are very important. Like I said a second ago, it'll make more sense why I have things just a hair above the others, because yes, I do believe that armor is more important than your weapon, and I do believe that ammunition is more important than both of those things. But that does not mean that your weapon is not important. Let's say that you have something like the P250, the little dinky pistol, very bad stats, very bad everything. And then you have something like the Glock. Now, I think we all know that both of these weapons loaded up with the exact same ammo type, the 9mm AP, the Glock is going to outperform the Boyer P350, the P250? I don't know what this thing is called. Anyways, the reasons why your Glock is going to outperform the pistol have a lot to do with the statistics, but also its features. This weapon can only fire in a semi-automatic. This Glock can fire in completely full automatic or semi-automatic as well. Another very important feature to take into account with different weapons is the mag size. Oh wow, did not mean to grab that. The base mag for the Glock holds 17 rounds, and then there is the extended mag that holds 33 rounds. Being able to have a 33 round mag in the Glock is absolutely huge. Also about the fuller automatic feature of the Glock, being able to fire this weapon at 1000 RPM is extremely beneficial over the P250 firing semi-automatic. When you're using a caliber, again, understanding your caliber, its strengths and its weaknesses, 9mm AP is great, but it's not the best. And when you're firing 1000 RPMs, you're going to kill somebody a lot faster than you can tap fire with that weapon. So the base mag for the P250 is 13 rounds plus 1 in the chamber. Your base mag, again, repeating, is 17 rounds plus 1 in the chamber. So 4 more extra rounds in the chamber is obviously nothing crazy, but that is always going to make a difference. And then obviously, one thing I talk about all the time is being able to throw a drum or an extended mag. The Glock has a 33 round extended mag. That makes it by far, in my opinion, the best handgun in the game. And you can make the argument against it with the 1911, but that only has a 11 round mag and a 45 AP. It's another conversation. But anyways, this is kind of just a very simple representation of why your weapon matters a lot. But even on top of the mag features, being able to do stuff like a rail so you can add optics, that is another huge feature that makes a big difference in picking your weapon. So yes, you can still put a laser on the P250, but you can do that plus an optic on the Glock and an extended mag. Obviously, again, I hope you guys understand after this long of an explanation why your weapon is also very important. And then really quickly, we could go on to something like this. M4A1 CQBR, all these attachments, you got grips, you got lights, you got same optics, so obviously they're similar, but statistics, you got 102 vertical, 112 horizontal. Firing power is good on that weapon. 126 horizontal, 102 vertical, and poor firing power. So again, more things to make a difference in what weapons you pick and also why it matters. Now, number 4 on my list for the most important pieces to your loadout puzzle are meds. Meds I have put at an 8 out of 10 overall importance rating, because obviously, what is it going to matter if you go into a raid and you can either stop a bleeding with bandages, you can't heal back that limb with syringes, or you couldn't completely stop yourself from dying of hunger because your stomach got blacked out. Now, you could totally make the argument that you can find those things in raid, and that is why I put those lower than the other 3 items on this list, like your ammunition, armor, weapons. But it is still only a 0.5 difference between meds and weapon. I have got them really, really close on the list because, yeah, 8 isn't as much as 9 or 10 or 10 out of 10, but 8 out of 10 is still very important. You can find these things. I can tell you, I have died a lot of times because I did not buy a staple gun or bring a staple gun, and I just wanted to find one, and then a scav shot my stomach and I died of hunger. So syringes, meds, everything about medication is extremely important when you're going into a raid because you need to be able to keep yourself alive, but also being able to heal yourself quick enough to get right back into the fight so that you can get ready before your opponent does, because hopefully you peppered them up too, so they're hurt too. Anyways, not a whole lot to talk about with meds. I think meds are pretty obvious. So we're going to move on to the next part of your loadout puzzle, which is a 7 out of 10, and that is your backpack. I'm going to come right back here. So your backpack is also very important, but I do have it sitting at a 7 out of 10, which is another full point drop, which is the biggest drop on this list. And the reason why I have it as the biggest drop is because bigger backpacks are a luxury, but it is not a complete luxury. I want to say that it is a luxury to be able to grab good items. But again, the biggest part of this game is looting, and looting does not matter if you do not have a backpack that can do so. Now, what you can do, you can get away with a tiny backpack because you can fill this thing up with all the meds you need, which is the bare minimum, which is not a lot, but it is enough. And you can fill it up with the bare minimum of food as well. They need to make this little pocket a water pocket. They should make that like a thing that stretches out and puts water in it. Anyways, you can get away with it. And then you grab the essentials. Look at this, 1.2 million. Boom. Right there, 1.2, 1 point something million. Anyways, you can get away with this. You can get some keys. You can grab probably like bare minimum, maybe 1 GPU, not a whole lot. But obviously, it is always going to be better to grab a better backpack. That is an extreme. Always going to be better to grab a better backpack. This, in my opinion, is like one of the best backpacks in the game. You can get away with grabbing all the essentials you need, fit them all in this backpack. You got a slot on the back for full-size weapons. You can put compartments on the sides for water. What I like doing a lot is I'll put a water bottle pouch on the side there. This is obviously a double wide mag pouch, which you could do that too if you want to have extra mags. You can have all kinds of different things. You put nade pouches so you can have your nades out here instead of inside your backpack. So many different things you can do with backpacks and reasons why they're so important. But you can get away with a smaller backpack technically, so that's why I have them a little bit lower. You can live without a bigger backpack, but obviously this game is about getting loot. It's about getting gear, and you're not gonna be able to do that with a small backpack. How did that get up there? You know what? I'm gonna leave it. That's all right. Okay. The last item on the list when it comes to your essentials for your loadout is food. I have that sitting at a 6 out of 10, the lowest on the list, because it's a lot easier to get away with trying to find food than it is to trying to find weapons, armor, ammo, all these other things. You could get away with not bringing those. When you jump into raid, you can just focus on where food spawns and different places you can go to get that. You can last a little bit on not having food, but you're definitely going to need it. That's why I have it a 6 out of 10. As you guys can see, everything on this list is above 5 out of 10 because everything about your loadout is very important. That's the whole point of this video, is to try to explain to you guys that your loadout is extremely crucial, and it makes the biggest difference in your good and bad runs. That is why even the lowest of the low, which is food, is still above 5 out of 10. So that is probably going to conclude the first part of this video. I hope you guys understand. If you guys have any questions about any things I've said or disagreements with any of the things I've said, let me know in the comments down below. Anyways, let's move on to the next part of the video where I'm going to show you guys a couple loadouts that I'm going to put together from stage 1, or I guess level 1 traders, level 2 and level 3, and then end game. We'll see about that. Okay, chimps, here are your 3 loadouts. I have one at level 1, one at level 2, one at level 3. These are when you hit level 1, 2, and 3 on every single trader. This is all of my first choices when it comes to all level 1 art, regiment, and the backpack Maximilian. This is my choices on level 2. I'll go in depth. Now, one that I would want to focus on more for this upcoming wipe is level 2, because level 1 is nice, and level 1 is probably something that you might find yourself needing, but the game starts you off with more than enough weapons and ammunition to where I think that like 80% of you guys are probably gonna have no problem getting to level 2 very quickly. Level 2 is probably where a lot of people are going to start purchasing items or start thinking more about what they're using, what they're grabbing, until they hit level 3. Level 1, I'm gonna briefly go over. Armor is absolutely terrible for what you can purchase. Obviously, if you find anything, use your good stuff. Let's say I'm at level 1 and I found some of this level 2 stuff, I'm grabbing it and I'm using it. Level 3 stuff, I'm grabbing it and I'm using it. But if you don't have anything, all you got's money, then purchase. Otherwise, do scav raids, find better stuff. Obviously, pretend we got food sitting in here, but you really can't purchase a whole lot when it comes to really anything. And the best weapon, in my opinion, at level 1 is going to be the AK-74U. You buy this from Regiment, and the reason why I think it's the best weapon at level 1 is because it not only has fully automatic and semi-automatic availability. You can purchase this here rail attachment. You cannot purchase any sort of optics, but if you find one, there you go, boom, now you have a weapon with an optic. That is better than any other level 1 weapon. Other level 1 weapons either have them built in, but this one's so cheap that it's really not that bad. Now, I do highly recommend you take it off until you find one. I just put it on there, and of course it doesn't want to let me grab it. I highly recommend that until you find an optic, you take it off, leave it off, and just use irons and keep it in your backpack, because surprisingly, when you hit level 2 or even at level 1, you can purchase this backpack. Another thing to remember is that none of these kits are keeping price in mind. These are just the best available kits you can purchase at each level. If you guys want to see a video on all the best budget kits from every level, let me know. I will do that, because you can purchase the smaller size backpack that you get from the starter kit, and obviously I'd utilize that if I could. Anyways, this is the best weapon because of the availability for attachments, and honestly, the biggest reason for me is finding out that you can purchase FMJ 545 at level 1, which is far better than all of the other weapons, which only can have their lower level ammo type. And that is a great setup. Everything but the armor is honestly pretty great about that. Now let's move on to level 2, where we're probably going to sit for a lot longer. This is where we get a lot more meat and taters in our build. At level 2, you can purchase a lot more meds. You can purchase much better meds, and l'épée à résistance. You can purchase a very good gun loaded up with MK318s 5.56. That, in my opinion, is the best round, or at least my favorite round. That's the thing about all these kits. These are all recommendations. Do not think that I'm telling you the best of the best, even though I've kind of thrown that word around a little bit. In the end, if anybody tells you that this is the best, #1, definitive, like this is the best, nothing else comes close, they are wrong. This game is about what feels best for you and what makes most sense for you. At level 2, I personally love the M4A1 CQBR. Has all these attachments so you can unlock at level 2. Feels amazing. Ammo, MK318s are a phenomenal round at level 2. Just overall a great weapon to use at that level. It's going to be something that you'll see me running around a lot early wipe. Armor, not terrible, not great. This will stop a lot of that lower level rounds coming your way. And then the helmet is a lot better. This is a pretty good step up in the kit, because you go to level 3 protection with unlikely penetration chance. Biggest downside to this one is it dampens your sound, makes it harder to hear, but you can put a glass face shield on that one, which is really nice. For reference, this is what the common one looks like. Terrible. Anyway, you get some good syringes. Level 2 is really nice place to sit. And another recommendation that I have for level 2 is something like this AK. This is the AKMN chambered in 7.62x39. Good firing power. You can add some attachments. You got a muzzle or a muzzle brake or a suppressor, and then obviously the mag sizes are nice. And then you can have attachments like optics, which is very nice. Not my favorite weapon. RPM is a lot lower than the M4 CQBR. And the best ammo that you can get for the 7.62x39 is FMJ, which is a rarity below MK318s, which outperforms it. A faster fire rate, better stats because you have the availability to put a grip on it. You cannot do that with that. There is the wooden stock grip one, but even then, I prefer this. But again, if you like that feels good for you, dude, you do you, because that is what this game is all about. You pop someone in the face with that and that weapon and they don't have face protection, doesn't matter what you're using, anyone is going to be good. Another recommendation is something like, this is going to throw everything off my shelf. It did. Anyways, the Evo. You cannot purchase this drum mag, get that out of here. But the Evo is a phenomenal weapon. If I'm doing something up close range, this is a great option. But the biggest reason why I wouldn't go with the Evo at level 2 is because 9mm AP is, in my opinion, the only reason why you should use the Evo, especially if you're at level 2 and you have the option to run something higher. If you want price and that's the reason why you're running it, then 9mm PST can still pick up some slack, but you really want to get to level 3 so you can use 9mm AP. So you can totally, that's why I'm giving you the option, that's why I'm mentioning it, is because it is definitely a great option, especially if you're running Metro, because that is where that gun completely shines. Another great option for level 2 weapon is the G3. This is basically the SECA 17 like Walmart version. It is chambered in 7.62x51, and you can purchase 7.62x51 FMJs, which is a great round for that early stages. You're gonna pop straight through a lot of really high tier armor. It's a great weapon. My biggest reason why it's not my first choice is because of the mag size, and this kit right here is kind of like a do-it-all kit. You can go to long range, close range, anything. G3, I'm only going to use it long range. But if that's your choice for long range, it is a phenomenal one. The other thing about that is that the longer range scopes are harder to come by at level 2, but you definitely can find them. Anyways, moving on, we have our level 3 kit. I go with the warrior helmet. I picked this one over the OP because the reason why I don't do the OP helmet, it has better protection, but it has this gap in the eyes. That means this helmet becomes completely obsolete if you get shot by somebody with MK255's the worst, or 9mm PSO. Anybody can kill you if they shoot you in the face. You have good protection, but I've died enough times with that thing and lost enough kits to where I will never run that helmet ever again. I do not want to take my chances. So I go with the warrior helmet. That is a great helmet. And then we have here the 6B17 upgrade body armor. Really, really good armor because of how wide the protection is, and good protection. Protection level 5, good durability, and penetration chance is unlikely. I will take it. And then when you hit level 3, I usually don't run these advanced syringes at level 3, but you can purchase them, at least a couple of these. And then the biggest part of this kit and the biggest step up when you level up is the RC416, my favorite weapon. A lot like the M4 CQBR, but a little bit faster fire rate, and you have the ability to purchase these drum mags loaded up with M995s. Got the best grip, the best muzzle. You could buy the cookie. I like a suppressor. And then you got the optic. Can't buy the El Evo quite yet. And then this backpack. This backpack is really expensive. I usually don't run it, but again, you can. If I'm at level 3, I'll probably usually pick this over this one because of how much more expensive it is. But that extra room and the extra stuff, it's really, really nice. Anyways, that there is my level 3 kit. Another recommendation for level 3, you could go with something like a Sekka. These are great weapons for level 3. Or the AK mod. A lot of people really love these weapons. Chibbered in 545, you load this thing up with 7 and 40. That is one of by far the best rounds in the entire game. 7 and 40 is super, super awesome for the performance you get out of it with how much it costs. So a lot of people really love this weapon. Again, for me, it comes down to personal preference. The weapon just doesn't feel as good to me as those ones do, the M4s and the ARs, and the RPM being 650 being brought down a whole lot more than the RC4 is another big thing. But your firing power is a lot better. And again, I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head about 7 and 40 versus MK3 or M995s, but I'm pretty positive M995s outshines it, but it's a lot more expensive. So again, in the end, do not let me tell you what's good and bad. You try it out for yourself. Test things out. See how things feel, because again, it all comes down to personal preference. But there are objective truths like the certain rounds and ammunition being better than others. And then we come over to my ultimate endgame kit. Okay, now we have our endgame kit. This is my, like, if I have everything unlocked, this is my first choice. This is something that I've been running a lot lately, and you guys have been seeing it on my channel. It is my favorite, by far the best weapon in my opinion. For me, obviously not the best weapon in the game. There is no best weapon in the game, but we got the M4A1 mod loaded up with 60 round drums, AP, M995s, whatever I have available to me. And then we have an extra drum in the chest rig. That one's running a little low. We got our bundles. That mag pouch, I think, is literally just an extra. We got our advanced syringe, 2 extra, a third. This chest rig. Oh, obviously, we have our great. Get that out of here. We have our phenomenal backpack. You could run the best backpack in the game. And I mean, that's obviously got more room. And I could if I would, but that's expensive. Anyways, I always like having at least 2 to 3. The reason why I have 3 is simply because a lot of these are like 2 out of 3 uses, 1 out of 3 uses. I like having them just in case, because you never know, and there's some visual glitches. 4 bandages is minimum. That's usually plenty. A painkiller, at least 1. Those come in handy in a pinch. An extra syringe. You can never have too many. I like having 1 of each grenades. Long cooldown, short cooldown, impact, obviously. But the long cooldown has a larger radius. Short cooldown has a shorter radius. Those are all come in handy. Best water bottle in the game, and an MRE. This is my endgame kit. And then the chest rigs. Now, I've done all the damage testings, and this is by far the best chest rig in the game. It performs so much better than every single one. It's a step up quite a bit for that one. But the one thing about it is that it says it has a low penetration chance. I don't experience that, but that's what it says. Anyways, this is also a phenomenal choice. Protection level is the same. The exact same protection level at level 6. Blunt reduction's a little better, or the same actually. Durability 200. Durability is better on that bigger one. Penetration chance is, or penetration reduction is actually better on this chest rig than it is on the other one. Fragility, a little bit better, but a tiny difference. And then the penetration chance being minor. I don't know. The other thing about that one that makes it a little bit better is that you got that leg coverage, and that makes a huge difference. Now, I've done a little bit of a damage test, and it shows that it goes to the the knees really when it comes to armor protection, but they do both have the same very similar stats. The biggest reason why that one's better is because, I mean, you got that neck protection there too. You have a little bit there, but not as much, just little things here and there. And then obviously the Tachanka helmet, I think that one goes without saying. That is the best helmet. Anyways, again, these are all recommendations. If you want a better weapons or different weapons, you could always go with something like the XM5. We got the AR308 Seca mod, the, let's see if I can get this without shoving everything off the shelf. Nope. The AK or MX AK, basically the AK Alpha. Or you could go with something like the Evo loaded with drum mags. 9mm AP drum mags is a phenomenal choice. And yeah, there are so many different combinations, so many different things you can do with this game. One thing I would say is that never take somebody who tries to tell you that one weapon is definitively better than the other. I mean, obviously you can split hairs and make arguments, but in the end, that's like me trying to say, oh, RC416 is the best gun in the game by far, no matter that. No, it's better than this by far in every way. Like, no, it's not better in every way, and there's different things that make different weapons better in different ways, so there's so many different variables. These are all recommendations. So hopefully, like I said, in the end, today's video could help you out. This is for not only starting players, people who are brand new to the game, struggling players, but also experts who probably know a lot more than I do, but it is always helpful to see something from a different perspective. That's always something that can help you out. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you have anything to say about what I've talked about, anything you want to add, any questions, let me know in the comments down below. You guys, make sure to take care of yourself, take care of your family, love on your family, and as always, you are awesome.